Car-Boyz. Yes. Hello again, folks. It's the car show on your radio with no pictures, just the gift of your imagination. I hope you're all feeling good in podcast land. So far, I am still with you in body, if not in mind. I shall remind you, dear listener, that this is the show already in an isolation lockdown procedure, as neither myself or my co-host Simon produced this show from the same studio. I am in the leafy suburbs of southwest London, and my co-presenter Simon is on the mean streets of North London, namely Edmonton. Our studio is buried many miles underground, with only my family for company. A frightening concept for many, I know. But as we say in the business, the show must go on, and we will endeavour to provide you with lots of information, news, views, the inside scoop on everything automotive, from green vehicles to the latest supercars. This week, we have yesterday's fish and chip wrappings in the news, more exciting roads for you to venture into when we are finally allowed out on the roads in the Lost Highway. And I'll be bringing you an amazing quiz this week that will test the ability of those lug holes either side of your bumps. I shall be in the role of 1970s TV host and Scouse comedian Tom O'Connor, and as a contestant to Name That Siren instead of Name That Tune. I'll be playing a selection of sirens from across the planet, from Malaysia to Milwaukee, and he will have to guess where it's from, which emergency service it's from, and whether it's a siren from the times gone past or a brand new one. So, sound of a ringing bell, along with the phrase, hello, hello, what's going on here then, will obviously signify a siren is British from the 1950s, and Dixon of Dock Green is the arresting officer. And talking of famous dicks, and by that I mean police detectives, I'd like to introduce my co-host, Simon Suji.
Thanks, Rich. I think I'm more a private dick like Magnum PI than a flatfoot Bobby. By that, of course, I mean I live in a beach house in Hawaii in my shorts that are far too tight. And yes, I own a moustache, but I don't have a 308 Ferrari GTS. As Rich already said, on the show we have the great quiz. This week I'll be doing my best in an overflow mailbag with Rich, sorting out through all of those. And everyone is sat at home trying not to kill each other and all their members of their family. I wonder how many coronavirus fatalities will be inflicted by close members of the family with a pool crew. Who knows? And I'll be taking a peek at a beautiful motor in our classic car section this week. It's a Type R, but it's not a Civic. It is the Honda Integra Type R.
Oh, exciting!
And we'll be asking the age-old question. When exactly did the pizza delivery drivers become frontline key workers, as they all seem to be on their mopeds? Just a thought. So stay tuned for all of that and more. I'm Simon Sijuan, and Sweet Home Alabama, where the skies are blue. Sweet Home Alabama, Lord, I'm coming home to you. Here I come, Alabama.
Yeah, Simon Sijuan there, folks, the blackest man in history to ever sing that classic song by Lynyrd Skynyrd. You did it very well. And I'm Richard Green, and while the blacks band sweating and the rhythm rams rolling, got to give us what we want. Got to give us what they need. Hey, our freedom of speech is a freedom or death. We got to fight the powers that be. Let me hear you say, fight the power. Let me hear you say, fight the power, fight the power, fight the power. And I'm Richard Green, the whitest man to ever sing that Public Enemy song. Well, as I recently found out, the whitest Viking. And this, dear listener, is Car-Boyz. Now, it's time for my weekly rant. I nearly said rantly week. It's my weekly rant this week. It's slightly more hardcore than it was the last one. It's mainly about the coronavirus, or as we like to call it here on the Car-Boyz podcast, Cortina19. The virus really does seem to have an amazing effect on the population. It appears to make us all deaf. We have a directive from our government here in the UK to stay indoors and go out once a day to do light exercise. Do not use the gym or go to the pub. Only buy food from the supermarket. And only go out if you have the symptoms. You must self-isolate for 2 weeks. Okay, I think I self-isolate. I don't use public transport. I wear a face mask everywhere. I still go to work as I'm currently freelancing for a news broadcaster, and of course I'm disinfecting myself nightly with single malt. So I went for my daily run yesterday, resplendent in sunglasses, gloves, face mask, and guess what? People were hanging out together in the park. People were not wearing any face masks, and there were lots of over 70s baby boomers walking around like the living dead. No change there then. I thought you were supposed to stay inside. Mind you, maybe this is nature's way of cutting down on the rising pension crisis we're facing in the UK. So as I pounded the streets of old London town, I even saw a group of kids smoking weed. Suffice to say that sharing a joint may be very cool, but I imagine it's a lovely way to get China's latest killer direct into the family. Yes, everyone seems to be completely ignoring the government's statutes and behaving like idiots. The guidelines are there for a reason, kids. Keep clean and save the world. Mind you, I really thought people would behave more like sheeple, but no, they're behaving more like dickheads. As coronavirus victim and Hollywood actor Tom Hanks said in Forrest Gump, stupid is as stupid does. Although this may be the latest way natural selection has manifested itself, thinning the herd of idiots. I already hear Greta Thunberg has the condition. I'm just saying. Simon, any thoughts?
How dare you? I have a
I
theory
should
about.
be in school.
I have a theory
Sorry,
about the.
as you're talking, I'm just putting hand wash on now.
I see.
Yes, antibacterial. Hang
Clean those hands. 20 seconds. Sing happy birthday. Although I was singing the wrong happy birthday. I was singing the Stevie Wonder happy birthday.
Ah.
Which doesn't quite work.
Were you singing it well? That'll be your song next week.
It was good. Happy birthday
to you. Happy birthday.
I do have a theory about the panic buyers. So all the
Yes.
panic buyers went out to buy all their supplies and everything like that a few weeks ago. So technically now they don't need anything. So there's going to be everybody else. It's going to be time for everybody else to go.
I went to stock up on essentials in the middle of this week, which of course essentials for me, whiskey and beer. And the guy in the supermarket said it had been very quiet. He said it's almost all the panic buying's gone down. But the interesting thing, and as I put on our Facebook page last week, people are out there having to use sheets of dry lasagna to wipe their backsides. Toilet paper is not something I would really, in end of day scenario, be too concerned about. We've run out of pasta. We've run out of toilet paper. There was no tomato sauce. Not many eggs. All of things I can sort of sort myself. Don't worry about toilet paper. I've got a left hand and I can wash that. Or I keep saying this, and I know I sound like a broken record. I really do think it's a conspiracy on behalf of the French bidet industry to encourage us to buy bidets. But yes, so basically they have all the latest. I did see some lovely pictures on the television of people dumping rotting food because they bought too much. It begs belief. Look, kids, if you're out there, you're a prepper. Probably don't need to tell you this, but you want the tinned goods and you want the guns and you want the alcohol, I would think. And maybe if you're, like to smoke a little weed, you stock up with your local dealer, something like that. That's the sort of idea.
You can use alcohol as a preservative.
Exactly. and you can just rub your ass on in the back garden like the way the dog does
the grass
when it's got worms. That's what I would do. Well, actually, you will have lots of stuff like leaves to wipe your ass on because apparently the councils are now not picking up the green bins in my area. So you're going to have lots of garden waste to wipe your backside on. So it's going to work out fine. Don't worry about it. Should we have some news?
Let's do the news. And first off, this week, an amazing story not about Cortina19. Production of Polestar's second production model, the 2, ingeniously named, has begun in Lucia, I think it is, in China. Lucia.
That sounds like Italian.
I did.
Yeah. God, did you practice this?
I did look it up beforehand, which is in China ahead of its first deliveries in the summer, priced from 49,900 because I couldn't go over to the 50,000 mark. The 2 is more attainable sibling of the far pricier Polestar 1, the genesis of the electric performance brand that has been separated from Volvo. Following its European arrival, it will go and sell in China, and North America. The Lucia plant, south of Shanghai, is owned by Geely and operated by Volvo, and already builds the XC40s for the Chinese market, as well as the Lynk & Co. 01 Never heard of it.
No.
All of which sit on Volvo's compact modular architecture, which is called the CMA platform. The Polestar 2 is the first electric vehicle to be built at that factory. The new model is a 5-door fastback that takes design inspiration from Volvo models such as the S90. The Polestar will sell models online only. So I think they're going the way. Is it Tesla? Tesla mostly do theirs online.
Yeah, they don't have. I mean, it's very clever in America. They don't have showrooms, but they have outlets in malls. Not that the malls are very full currently, but so it's a very different. You basically can go and test drive one, and they've only got
in the
one
car
at the
park.
start. Is that right? So and then you go, okay, I've had a go on this. This is fine. I want this, and then they go right. They'll go through what you can order. I'd like, silver, this spec, and then you go through all the extras.
Because I think they've got one in Bluewater, just outside of London, and they do a similar thing. So you can drive around in their multi-story. The UK reservations are now being taken on its website with £1,000 fully refundable deposit if the world should end. Firm orders should be placed now, with first deliveries expected in July. The £49,900 on the road price includes routine servicing and maintenance for 3 years plus VAT. The first 12 months of production will be dedicated to a fully loaded launch edition. Polestar had previously indicated a cost of around £51,000 for that model and suggested subsequent base models would have a guide price, quote unquote, of around £34,500, similar to the Tesla Model 3. Or the Model 3. I'm not sure which one is it. Model 3? No, it is the Model 3.
Yeah, it's a Model 3. Yeah.
Yeah. It has 2 electric motors mounted across both axles. Nice. And 4-wheel drive, and a 27-module, 78 kilowatt an hour battery pack integrated into the floor. Polestar claims that the pack contributes to the chassis rigidity and helps reduce road noise by 3.7 decibels compared to the traditional chassis. The powertrain produces 402 bhp and 487 foot-pounds of torque, translates into 0 to 60 time of less than 5 seconds because it's electric.
Yeah, that's up there with M3, isn't it?
It is.
M3 and 5-litre Mustang range.
It brings it with a suite of Google services. So this is inside the car. You can get the Google Assistant, Google Maps with EV specific features, and the Google Play Store if you should get bored while you're driving and concentrated on the road.
Yeah.
All of this is controlled via the new 11-inch touchscreen. Nice, do like 11-inch touchscreen. Further tech such as numerous connected services and the facility to use your smartphone as a car key also features. As with Volvo's models, safety features such as pilot assist semi-autonomous driving is included, and LEDs, matrix, adaptive high beam lights, and automatic emergency braking are available. So
it sounds exciting.
Full of toys.
Yeah, I'll get to that bit in a minute. It's nice to see production is going back on track.
Yes.
You have to tell everybody as well, nobody will soon be able to buy a Volvo that isn't being built in China. Volvo production is almost all going to China. There'll be nothing being produced. There'll be some, I think, out of Milwaukee for the Americans.
Yeah.
Almost everything else, there's going to be no production out of Sweden. It's all going to be China.
Wow.
The performance and all the figures and all the kit, and it sounds great, and the BHP is up, and this. Aren't these electric cars for people that don't like cars?
How do you mean?
Well,
explain yourselves.
Because I don't give a crap about having Google. You can take half the stuff out of my 8-year-old Honda Accord, the techie stuff, and I wouldn't really care about that. It's got a very nice sat nav, but I've also got Waze on my phone, which I can sort of use. I don't link up the Bluetooth. I can't be asked to do that. I've got a headset. If I want to listen to tunes, I've got my own stuff on a phone. And if I want to drive, I like to sort of driving.
I see where you're coming from. I can imagine.
And I like the sound of an engine, and this interests me less. In the same way, I'm not really terribly into technology. I mean, I like it; it's okay. But I've got a hi-fi system that's probably 20 years old. It's a very good one.
I
But
see what you're saying, because I like technology, but at the same time I like driving with my window open, just hearing the roar of the engine driving around the road.
I didn't
So
actually
yeah.
think that if they're trying to reduce road noise, is that for the interior? Because I'm not finding electric cars that silent on the road. There was a fear at one
Mm,
point that you were going to keep getting knocked over. They would then have to put a speaker into the car to generate an engine sound, so you would know a car's coming. But
mm,
when I've been near Teslas, I've not noticed that they're that quiet. They seem to be quite loud. I tell you why. I had last year I got given a brand new Honda. I didn't get given it. I had a loaner car of a Honda Jazz.
mm.
And my mother's got a Honda Jazz. I've driven a few of them, and while my car was being serviced, and off they went to do that. I borrowed the Honda Jazz. It has a touchscreen. I can't work out how anything operates. So we had no aircon on. Because I'm driving it, touching this thing, going, well, I don't know where that. Usually on a Honda, as I said last week, everything is in a certain position. This touchscreen pissed me off. The other fear with it is, as soon as that breaks, you got to put another one in. And all of that
Mm,
technology, isn't that redundant after about 3 years anyway? So
mm,
this is supposed to be an environmentally friendly car. And technology-wise, everything's, unless you're going to be able to take that touchscreen out and put a new load of hardware in, a new software in, the thing's going to be out of date.
mm. Yeah, I think you're right. You're absolutely right on that.
Just a thought. Meanwhile, staying with electric car news, a little bit more exciting
Yes.
this time. Aston Martin has detailed its new in-house designed hybrid V6 powertrain for the first time, set to be deployed initially in the Valhalla mid-engine supercar from 2022. The engine has already gone extensive dyno testing. No idea what that means. It's codenamed TM01 after Tadek Marek, Aston's famed engineer of the 1950s and 1960s. The turbocharged 3-litre V6 is the brand's first all in-house engine since 1968, because they have been using a lot of Jaguar and
Mm,
Ford bits, and it will be mated to the new range of hybrid systems being developed alongside it, including both straight hybrid and plug-in hybrid applications. Now, it's claimed to be the most powerful engine in Aston Martin's range. While that's as specific as it gets at this stage, we know it will produce more than, wait for it, 715 bhp
mm.
in the DBS Superleggera racer form. It features a dry sump and a hot
Oh.
V structure where the turbos are mounted, love a dry hump, within the engine's 6-cylinder heads to ensure it's compact enough to squeeze in both front and mid-engine mounted applications. The whole thing weighs less than 200 kilograms. Good grief. The engine is
Mm.
set to make its way onto the 2023 Vanquish, although likely it's not yet clear it will be adapted for use and the promised future hybrid DBX, which I guess is the 4x4.
Mm.
Valhalla, love it. Amazing looking car. I hope the end. Yeah, it does look like a super car. It looks like a McLaren.
Stunning. Yeah,
We've put a picture of
absolutely
this on the
stunning.
website. Yeah, and I think that looks great. I definitely think it is such a jump for Aston Martin because, they're not quite as staid as Jaguar, but they do have a reputation of producing more of a classic looking car than anything
Mm.
too futuristic. But that is very futuristic. And
Yeah,
as
absolutely. It looks almost like a Koenigsegg,
yes,
possibly
very
McLaren
much.
cross between.
I think the boot's going to have to be bigger to get the golf clubs in. I'm just saying. If
Mm.
you're going to spend this much money on a car and it's going to be your daily driver and you're going to afford that car, I imagine you're going to be a golfer. Just a thought.
Mm. Technology-wise, 200 kilos for an engine.
That's
That's Formula
insanely
One tech.
light.
I
Yeah,
can remember the days of Formula One where the V8s were something like just around 100 kilos. So clearly they've got some money to develop this sort of stuff.
that is insanely light. That's what that's about 30 stone, isn't it? Isn't it
Mm.
a bit lighter than 30 stone? That's it. That's insane. I don't know what they're making it out of. I assume aluminium.
Or rockets or something. I don't know. With a name like Valhalla.
Yes. Fantastic. Oh, hang on. You're doing the next one. Apologies. I've written my name twice.
Okay, that's fine. Jaguar Land Rover. Jaguar Land Rover is in more better car news, is set to establish itself as one of the world's leading makers of electric vehicles by converting its historic Castle Bromwich plant into a specialist EV production centre. According to sources, 3 new pure electric models will be rolling off the production lines at the end of next year to join the existing electric Jaguar I-Pace in the showrooms. The move is part of a major £1 billion investment in both Castle Bromwich and Jaguar Land Rover's factory in Solihull. Both are set to be massively overhauled in preparation for the British manufacturer's new modular longitudinal architecture. There we go again. MLA platform. So they've taken a leaf out of all those books by the looks of things.
Yes.
Despite relatively poor sales last year, and we were concerned about this because it was down 10% on 2018, Jaguar is also getting a significant boost in the form of 2 new flagship models. Jaguar Land Rover, has already confirmed that the replacement for the Jaguar XJ Saloon will be a battery electric model. Okay. However, it's understood that the Castle Bromwich factory will also produce 2 more vehicles, both crossovers. Land Rover's upcoming now try saying this carefully, Road Rover.
Wow.
I was going to say Road Rover will be...
Yeah, sorry, go on. Well, I was just thinking the Road Rover running around the railway station in Redditch is a phrase that people with lisps wouldn't be able to say.
Or Jonathan Ross.
Or Jonathan Ross. Wonderful.
Yes, it'll be sold as a pure EV, while the Jaguar J-Pace flagship will be built at the plant as an EV. The MLA underpinnings will also be used for the next generation Range Rover and Range Rover Sport, as well as the Discovery 6. It's expected the majority of each of those models will be sold as plug-in hybrids, as increasingly stringent global CO2 regulations continue to bite. Julian Thompson, Jaguar's new director of design, revealed earlier this year that the car wouldn't be benchmarked against established luxury saloons. Rather less is known about the upcoming J-Pace and the Land Rover model known only as Road Rover, nickname, which won't be used in production. Both will be sold as EVs, so it's expected that they will be in the mold of the low-riding crossovers rather than conventionally SUVs. The battery range, all importantly, smaller frontal areas will be a key element in this new generation model. So, what else we got more? It's a long story. Given the success of the E-Pace and the F-Pace, it's easily outsell their XF and XE Saloon siblings.
I think you can jump to the last page on this one.
Yeah. Yes. The SUV segment is hitting 38% of overall sales in the EU last year, making it the region's biggest single segment, and well ahead of super minis, which took 19%. It's unsurprising that other crossover models has appeared on Jaguar's radar. In contrast, the executive car segment accounted for just 2.3% of sales in the EU last year. So I do like my big Jaguars, but it seems like they're not going to be building anymore.
It is. It was like the last bastion of the saloon car was Jaguar, and they're thinking, well, we don't think anybody's buying these anymore. I did post a picture of a Maserati SUV, which looked like a big piece of dog shit in the car park outside where I work. And I've got to take a picture of this thing. Bearing in mind, I think the same car park had 6 McLaren, brand new McLarens in there the other day.
Really?
Yeah, it was amazing. Again, that's gone on the Facebook page. It was promotion for a tobacco company, but it looked very cool. And then I walked past this fat-assed Maserati and just went, really? Meh. I've seen a fat-ass Bentley. I don't
all
get
offering
it.
them, aren't they?
Everybody wants one. I've got friends that all drive them. Well, I like the raised driving position, is what I hear a lot of people that drive. And I go, yeah, but then if you've all got the raised driving position, then nobody can see any further ahead. I mean, they're all right. I've driven. I've owned 4x4s and some really nice ones. And the last one I had to go at was a Hyundai Santa Fe, which was a great bit of kit. But expensive to run, expensive tyres, expensive maintenance, expensive fuel, even if it is diesel. And I feel a bit of a dick going round small streets of London in a giant SUV, which most of the time will just have me in it. I do like a saloon car. There's
Saloon's
something
good.
I can't see myself going the SUV route. Plus, and as my friend said, yeah, but you also don't want to be the guy at on the school gates. Oh,
Mm.
Richard can take the kids because he's got a 7-seater. Richard can take the football practice with the kids because he's got a 7-seater. Frig that.
Yes, just get a saloon. Go for a saloon. Keep
I
getting
think so.
saloons.
I think so. I mean, I might even get a 2-seater. Then I don't have to take the kids anywhere either, do I? I do. I can tell you that the JLR are still not back to work yet. Inside sources tell me everybody currently working from home, but amazing news for jobs in the UK. I'm going to do the last one, and I did put it down for you. I think, as you could tell from that story, I think my editing went slightly awry this week on the program. So apologies to one and all.
It's all good. It's being in self-isolation.
It is. I've self-isolated. Too much self-isolation. Yeah, it makes you go blind. In funky camper news, Volkswagen and German-based electrification specialist E-Classics have teamed up with the new E-Bully, a 1966 Type 2 microbus fitted with an electric motor from the EUP city car, which, contrary to popular belief, is not produced in Yorkshire. That would be the EUP city car. And the Eat My Gum SUV crossover. As with the electric version of the original Beetle revealed last year, the split-screen van has been completely restored before having its flat-4 petrol motor replaced by EUP's 82 brake horsepower electric motor. This is the most powerful official version of the Type 2. Power is sent through the rear axle through a single-speed gearbox, and Volkswagen claim the van will hit an electronically limited top speed of 81 mph, 16 more than the original version. Although I bet you can take the limiter off. A 45 kilowatt lithium-ion battery pack's fitted in the middle of the chassis for optimal weight distribution, and it can be charged from empty to 80% capacity in 40 minutes. Wow. The E-Bully's that's an awful name, E-Bully, claim the range is said to be more than 124 miles, as well as all the new powertrain. E-Classics has made a series of chassis modifications to enhance the vehicle's usability. Adjustable shock absorbers, coilover struts, at the front end for more comfort. The old car's drum brakes have made way for vented discs. Minimal visual exterior modifications are limited to the additional of LED headlights and rear-mounted charge state indicators. The interior has been obviously modernised and features new automatic gear lever, ignition button, orange and white seating, marine-style wooden flooring throughout. It is resplendent in silver and I would say a bronze. The E-Bull is not a one-off. E-Classics will produce the electrified classic at its workshop alongside the E-Cafta, which sounds slightly racist, but it don't come cheap. €64,000.
Wow.
But I've seen them do this in America. So they basically take an old microbus, strip it, renew it, put disc brakes on it, and stick an electric motor in the back. I think that looks the coolest thing I've ever seen. It is very, very nice.
Very cool. White wall tires. Really, really cool. I like it.
But £60,000 is getting up there, isn't it?
It's a bit like when they had, I think there were certain companies that you could get like an Aston DB5 and they would just redo it all for you.
Yeah.
Update the suspension, update the brakes and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that pushes. Yes, I think I've seen a couple of programs featuring people with those. They do it with a Jag as well. Well, I'll take a type and as you say, modernise it.
I'm a little concerned though because it's like a giant scale electric vehicle because you said it's a single speed gearbox. So if it's single speed, it's just like
all or nothing.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about this is there's a guy out of California that does this with Ford Broncos. So
Okay.
he's got a company in California, and he mostly does Broncos, restores them, and then they'll put they'll put a huge powertrain in it, a brand new engine.
Yeah.
So it's an homage to the original, but you want something that you can get to work in every day, and all the leaf springs are gone. It's much more of a better car.
Mm.
He said doing it with electrics is really difficult because stuff is updated so quickly. So he said, even if we've got a project that's a 2-year project that we're working on, by the time we get to the end of the 2 years, the electric stuff, and this is what I was saying earlier, is out of date.
Mm.
So he said they're trying to stay to people, just put an one of these big LS motors in it. Don't go for electric because you're going to have to come back in 3 years and we're going to have to redo it. Because the technology is moving at such a fast rate. But I do like it. I do. I've got my eye on an electric bike they've got out at the moment called the Super 73, which looks like a cafe racer, but it actually is a bicycle. It's an electric bicycle, but it looks like a 1950s cafe racer. So
nice.
Yes, very nice. But yeah, that's a nice piece of kit. I wouldn't mind having one. I don't think I could quite afford the 60,000, but I tell you what, to buy a camper bus in that condition is getting up towards that figure, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Should
Expensive stuff.
Should we have some classic car collection?
Yes, let's have some music.
Oh yeah, nice. Jazz. All right, lads, that's enough. Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you. There we go. Hey, shut up! No, enough. Dizzy Gillespie and the
and the Car-Boyz house bands.
Yes, they're great.
Yeah. It is, of course, the classic car selection. Later on in the show, we also give you details of how to contact us and the letters, but we're going to do the classic car first of all. And this week, when most people say Type R, the immediate thought is to mention which car?
Honda Civic?
Yeah. However, this week on Car-Boyz, the classic is the first Honda to wear the Type R badge. It was the Honda Integra Type R. The Integra arrived in the UK showrooms in 1997 as a two-door coupe. The success of the car was attributed to the glowing reviews in Japan, where it had been on sale since 1995. Owners and journos raved about the handling of the front-wheel drive car, while those that were more technically minded went into how it had thicker metal, spot welds, strut braces, and minimal sound handling, all part of the Type R and all its ethos. Power came from a 1.8 four-cylinder VTEC engine mated to a 5-speed gearbox, which incidentally you would also find in a Civic Type R, and had highly polished ports and an enlarged throttle body, because we all like an enlarged throttle body.
Lovely.
It was good for 187 bhp at 8,000 rpm. That's right, 8,000 rpm.
Wow.
And it was equivalent to 104 bhp per litre. And of course, because it was a VTEC engine, you get the same witchcraft after 6,500 rpm. Thankfully, though, as you head towards the red line, the torque-sensitive limited slip differential ensured that your arms wouldn't be ripped out of your sockets. Being a purist car, the Integra Type R features no luxuries. Even aircon was optional. Instead, those things were the car was to heighten the experience of driving where permitted, such as figure-hugging Recaros with holes for the seatbelts, a chin spoiler, and a huge rear wing. Red badging, I can say that probably, red badging, signalled, yes, its racing DNA, and the first UK cars were available in Championship White in honour of Honda's first Grand Prix winning car. The youngest Integra now, the youngest Integra Type Rs are 19 years old, because the model went off sale in 2001. Although mechanically identical to the Japanese domestic market cars, or JDMs, grey import cars are available from 96 to 98, and they continue to be imported in now. So, what do you look for? Well, The British climate hasn't been kind to the Integra. Although the engines have been proved to be tough and reliable, you should expect to see some body corrosion on the seals and rear wheel arches. A well looked after example. Are you all right there?
I'm fine. I'm still with you. So I'm creaking. It's age and my chair.
Yes, it's your hip. A well looked after example would make sure under sealing is kept up and rolled salt washed off. Rust will appear along the seals and the rear arches. The engines use a lot of oil, so check the oil and they have the correct levels and has been maintained. Oil changes are recommended every 6,000 miles. The cam belt every 60,000 miles, and the coolant every 3 years. Check the boot floor isn't swimming in water because it comes in via Perish seals on the rear lights, and ensure that the thin windscreen, because they lighten the windscreen by making it thin, isn't chipped. Ensure the car also has the red master key with it, because if you have to find a replacement, it will not be cheap. So, if you bought a reasonable 100,000 miler with history 6 years ago, these cars would have sold for as little as £4,500. However, now with 117,000 miles, a T-plate Integra will show that it's an appreciating car because they can now be bought for £8,400. Okay. So, get in on the act now because the value is going up.
This is the era, and I do remember. Now, I've forgotten about these cars.
Yes.
Mitsubishi 3000 GT.
Yeah.
Toyota Supra, and the Honda Integra. Those were you saw those around a lot in the late 90s, early noughties. Lovely little sports car. It's a Honda, so I mean, you're going to get a bit of rust, but you do get a bit of rust on a 20-year-old car. But I think amazingly cheap for what you've got, and you've got that. It's that era, and we do go on about it a lot on this podcast. Just before technology started to take over, these cars were really over-engineered. And I think you've got less quality in more modern versions of similar cars. If you want to work on a car, you want to get your hands dirty, this period is probably the last chance you're going to have to do that before you have to start getting into PCs
and being an electrician, basically.
Exactly. I'd forgotten about these cars. When you mentioned them, I couldn't bring them to mind, and then I went and looked online and went, God, I haven't seen these for such a long time. And I always thought they were grey imports, but obviously not.
No, they're available in UK showrooms, but you can get the JDM ones, and they're being imported as well. So go for it.
What an absolute classic for such a little amount of money as well. A sub 10 grand for that. Yeah, why not go for it? Right, ready for Lost Highways?
Yes,
let's do it. Let's do it. If I can get this thing to work. No, obviously can't. There we go.
It's Hank. Hank's here.
It is. There we go. Thank you very much. Yes, it's the Lost Highways feature where listeners email in and give us their favourite roads and the reason they love them. Could be a quiet coastal road that leads down to the sea. Alternatively, it could be a straight 2-lane blacktop that leads to infinity and invites you to gun the pedal to the metal. Whatever your poison, let us know. Your perfect driving road here at Car-Boyz. You can get in touch with the show many ways. Probably don't write to us via snail mail. Email the show, car-boys, boys with a Z, at outlook.com. That's car-boys, boys with a Z, at outlook.com. Facebook, we are car-boys with a Z, at Car-Boyz, 4 Z's on the end. Twitter, car-boys with a Z, at car_boys with a Z. And what's the other one? Instagram,
yes, it's car_boys with 3 Z's.
Oh, yes. Yes. So get in touch with the show. I guess, Gav, you're doing the first one.
Yep, someone who did exactly that was Dolly2307 from Brighton, and she says she's a big fan of Japan, and says there's a road that everyone should drive before they die, which may be quite sooner than normal at the current rate. It's about 108 kilometers, or 1 hour 40 minutes drive time from Shibuya in
Who
Tokyo.
knows? Shibuya.
Shibuya. It lies one of the world's most thrilling stretches of road. It's called the Hakone skyline.
That sounds good.
Not the Manhattan skyline, which was a hit for Aha. And if you're a bona fide car enthusiast who likes a bit of a crackdown on twisty road, then drop everything and put this at the top of your bucket list. The Hakone skyline is a toll road, and the price of entry is currently 360 yen. Or 600 yen if you enter from the opposite direction. I don't know how that works.
No.
Either way, it's $4 to $6. It's the best that you'll ever spend on that. And even better news that there is no traffic police patrols whatsoever, so you can up and down and will not be fined. Japan, like the UK, is a right-hand drive market because they drive on the right side of the road. So that makes it easy for the from the onset. And while there's no shortage of traffic, there's no chaos and things flow smooth. Actually, the road up to the top of Hakone Toll Booth may as well be called the Junior Skyline because it's just as thrilling, only a little tighter and narrower, because that's how we like it. And dangerous, mossy.
Dangerously mossy. Do you like it tight and narrow and dangerously mossy? Well, I was a child of the 1970s, so yes.
Exactly, and it's just as spectacular for the fast flowing corners and a sticky hot mix of road surface.
You think Dolly works in a certain industry? But,
yes, possibly somewhere in Brighton. Officially, the Hakone Skyline is a 5-kilometre stretch of tarmac that has 58 turns in a difference in elevation of 169 meters, though it feels a lot longer than that, especially if you have to go all the way to Hakone Turnpike, where you'll often find hordes of motorcyclists resting up there for a return charge. The Hakone Skyline is an addictive bit of road that seems more of a mecca for enthusiasts and more famous stretches like the Stelvio Pass. It is no less thrilling and much less travelled, even on weekends. And when you do want to stop, there are spectacular views to be had of Mount Fuji and Lake Ashinoka, though you'd better get there early or you'll miss you miss it for the clouds that seem to roll in at 10 a.m. right on cue.
Fantastic.
So, first road in Japan.
Yes, it is. I can't think of Mount Fuji without thinking of the film company.
Yes.
Every time I think Mount Fuji, I go, 35 millimeter. Sounds good though, doesn't it? And they're very. I've never been to Japan. I've never driven in Japan. From what I've seen of it, it's quite organised place.
So that's well worth a go if ever you're in the Far East.
Yes, we've got another one. We're going over the pond now. Tommy Two-Tone from Aberdeen in Washington State, USA. So I think that's all the way over near Seattle. He says he loves Thailand, and he says there's a great driving road down the east coast of the Gulf of Siam called the Chalem Burapa Cholahit Road near Chanthaburi on the romantic route of the east.
Easy for you to say.
I was going to say, thank God I lived there for a while. I used to read the traffic news in Bangkok as well, which was most entertaining for residents of Thailand, my pronunciation. Passing through Chonburi, Rayong, Chanthaburi and Trat, the Chalem Burapa Cholahit is a popular road in the eastern region of Thailand, recognised as one of the most beautiful scenic routes. The best part of the road is Chanthaburi, where it passes many tourist attractions between Kung Wiman Beach and Nong Nang Paya. The viewpoint overlooking the road as it curves around the mountain's feet next to the sea. Non Yang Paya lovers can attach a love lock to symbolise their love. Or you can just pay her the money that you owe her. Another place visiting Krung Krabian Bay Royal Development Study Centre is an important organisation that gives work to revive mangrove forests. Okay, great. Don't know how that got in there, but anyway, thank you for that. Continue along the eastern seaboard. There are more stops where you can enjoy looking at the scenery, taking photos, or just watching the sunset from Car-Boyz viewpoint in Krung Kraben Wildlife Reserve. The reserve is also a unique geological landscape. At Pak Nam Kiam Nu viewpoint, you can watch traditional fishing or drive over Daksin Marat Bridge for a fantastic sea view and find out about Chantaburi's history during the time of the French colonization of Indochina. There's also a cycle lane runs along the main road and becomes a firm favourite among many Thai cyclists. There are many hotels and resorts along the way, making it an easy way for it to break your journey whenever you like. So let me get it right. This is down the East Coast, so I know he's going. My wife's actually he's going to the East Coast, not the West Coast. Right. So I have been down here, and I've been to Trat and I've been to Rayong and Chonburi, but I've never done this route. It sounds quite interesting. I imagine it's very, very Thai, which means you probably might need to take a guidebook with you if you're trying to communicate with people. Because once most people in Thailand speak English, but outside the big areas, if this is a very local area, you could struggle quite a bit. This is going down to Pattaya. That's where but I don't think you've reached Pattaya. That's an absolutely horrible place where people just go to just pick up
to be tourists.
Yeah, to be sex perverts abroad. I've never driven in Thailand. 3 years I lived there. I didn't drive a car once. It is drive on the right side of the left side of the road, so the right side of the road. But it's nuts. Bangkok is nuts. Bangkok is like Manhattan. It's absolute nuts. Think Manila, Jakarta, Bangkok. It's nuts. Nothing makes any sense. So I'd always prefer to be in the back of a taxi or on the back of a motorbike. Honestly, never rented a car. I just was like, I'd go down to Malaysia and rent cars there, and things made sense because they understood the rule of law. But you'd be on the back of a motorcycle taxi, and you're suddenly going down the wrong way, down a one-way street, and you're going, "What are you doing?" And there's big buildings either side, and the walls are getting narrower and narrower, and you're thinking, "I'm going to die." Oh, no problem. Dear. Don't worry, mister. But yeah, that sounds like quite an interesting little route.
And well done on the pronunciations as well.
Yes, thank you very much. It's all coming back to me like a bad dream. Yes, I used to have so much fun doing traffic reports on the Ding Dang Expressway, Panam Gao, and all this sort of stuff. That was very much fun. So yeah, if you want to get your great driving road. So we've done Thailand. We're very, very Asian this week, coincide with the coronavirus. We've done Thailand and Japan. So anywhere else in the world, as we've mentioned, it doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be short. Possibly no murder routes, as we've had from one listener, Jakey Snakey in America. You can email the Car-Boyz at car-boys@outlook.com. And as I like to say, now it's time for your letters in the mailbag. Yeah, enough of that. Thank you very much.
There you go. It's the part of the show that's the equivalent to Readers' Wives. It's the letters.
This week, you've really targeted such a specific member over 40 and in Britain. Right, globally, people are going, "What's Readers' Wives?"
That's good. It's all fine.
First, his children.
First letter comes from Sophie7744 from Manchester. She emails the show and says she has a Renault Megane. Oh my word, it's an 04 plate 1.6 16 valve with less than 100,000 miles on the clock, but she's having the odd problem with the electrics and it needs a new cam belt and it has never been done. Really? Should she spring for it? Oh my word, my boss used to have a Renault Megane, I think also 1.6 16 valve, and the engine just went on it. It was just awful. It was an awful car.
Yeah, my colleague had one, and I remember, and it was so. It would only. This was going back. It was about 5 years old, and she couldn't get the passenger window to wind down. So we took the door card off, and we shoved a piece of wood in there, and then put the door card back on for her because it would get stuck. And she would go, "Oh, for fuck's sake, I can't leave the car outside. It's going to rain." So we just took the door card off at work. We helped push the window back up, and we just put a little bit of wood in there. She said, "Yeah, it works perfectly."
Hate to say it, Sophie, but
it's the one with the back side. It's the shaking that ass one, isn't it?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah.
04. Yes.
They have lots of electrical problems, and hers was always in the shop as well. That car's worth about 500 quid, maybe 400. New cam belt, 400 quid. I actually, do you know what? I was thinking, just sell it and buy a Japanese car. No, just drive it into the ground. Keep driving it. Don't buy a new cam belt. Keep going. And one day it will blow up and you'll just walk away from it and go, thank you. And just go, leave it on the side of the road and walk away. Because it's just not worth doing anything to that car.
Yeah.
And then go
to the ground.
A Korean or a Japanese car that will not give you any headaches. She was obviously got the lucky one that they made in 2004 that didn't blow up. Meanwhile, Carl, 8888 from Bonn in Germany wants to know what's the clattering sound. Oh, causing the clattering sound from the engine bay on his 2004 BMW 3 Series. When he starts the car, it sounds okay. And when he starts driving, it sounds okay. But if he goes over a speed hump or turns the wheel, he gets a clattering sound. Sounds like someone slapping together two saucepans. Any idea? The sound. It's a guy in the engine bay with two saucepans. The sound's coming from the driver's side. Almost definitely, I can almost guarantee it's going to be a road spring. So I had 3 of them go on my cars, and that's the sound you get, like a clank, 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 clank. It's like that. And then you get up to speed, and it usually stops. Oh, it's okay, it's gone away, and then you'll go over something, and you'll get it like that. My old mechanic used to say he'd see a broken road spring, which is part of the suspension setup on the front of the car, once or twice a year. He now sees them every single week, and he reckoned it's a combination of speed humps in the UK, potholes. Causing them to break, but also he reckoned the steel is not the quality it used to be. Because I've seen a road spring, man, and a road spring has got to be as thick as your finger.
Yeah.
And to break that's a hell. He said this. He thinks the steel isn't what it was many years ago, and plus, there's many cars I rule out of ever considering because of the amount of speed humps we have in the UK. I mean, for me to get down to the major highway of 316 from where I live, I probably have to go over 20 speed humps.
Some major, and they're not even the right shape.
No, and they're not the right height, and they're also some are like 6-7 inches off the ground. But that precludes you having like a nice bit Porsche, because you're going to clip the bottom of.
Because the thing is, in your area, they're big enough to get the buses through, but not cars.
Yes. That's why I currently drive a Honda with a very soft, wallowy suspension, which goes over speed bumps. Lovely.
Nice. Should we do another one?
Yes.
AC/DC 1976, I like the name. From Australia, emails the show and asks why you two drongos, what type of car is cheap in Europe?
Come on, you
could be
tell us
exported
what to do. Yeah.
To Australia, drive for a few years and sell for a profit, you big gilla.
You big gilla. Come on, Puff, just tell me what I'm supposed to buy. So, okay, let's get straight. So, I assume he's a fan of AC/DC since it's called AC/DC 1976. Okay, so my brother was going to do this. My brother lives in Melbourne. What they've got a chronic shortage of over there is small German cars. And smaller, you don't see them. You don't see small, so you don't see 1 Series, old 3 Series, not the current ones. So I'm talking about maybe 3 or 4 generations ago, early 90s, mid 90s. You don't see old Golf GTIs. You don't see BMW Z3s or BMW Z4s. Aussies tend to drive big cars because they do the huge distances between, I'll drive from Melbourne to Sydney, take you a couple of days. But as more and more people are flying, they just want a car just to go around a major city. The Japanese have been supplying these sorts of things. But small nippy Sportsters from Golf, from BMW or VW, those you do not see them. especially the old ones, especially something like a VW Corrado or a BMW Z3. Maybe I've never seen one. I've been to Australia about 4 times. I've never seen anything like that out there. You see small Japanese cars and big Holdens and Fords, and that's pretty much it. So my brother at one point was thinking about trying to buy a 70s or 80s BMW and ship it to Australia because he would own the car, not pay the import tax, drive it round for a year or so, and then sell it on and make a profit.
Ah, I see. Yeah.
That being said, everything from Europe's going to be rusty as hell. So maybe South Africa, because do South Africans drive on the same side as us? I can't remember.
No, I don't know.
That's the only problem you're going to face is these cars. If you do get something with a bit of age on it from the UK, because obviously they drive on the side, the Australians drive on the same side.
Yes,
It's been very much driving on the left show. This show, hasn't it? We've banged on about this quite. And that's what I would do. That's the cars you don't see. And in fact, my brother, before he had the kids, had a hot new anniversary Golf GTI with the tartan interior and the golf ball on the.
Yeah.
And he just bought it, and the wife went, "I'm pregnant. We've got to sell it and buy a people carrier." So he had 9 months of enjoying it. And our old friend returns. Finally, we have Shaky Snakey from Florida. He emails the show. Hey, boys, loving the podcast, but still not enough features on good old American steel. He says, you Brits would really like the new Ford Mustang, a 5-litre. Can you get it over there? Well, yes, I have a look on the internet. You can.
You can, yeah.
And in right-hand drive as well.
Yes,
so,
you can.
The proper side of the car. Great-looking car, not too expensive. You can get a 3-year-old, had a quick look on the internet, V8, 5-litre, low mileage, full service history for £25,000.
Nice.
That's a hell of a lot of car. Also, apparently, the build quality of the interior and the car in general is very good and very European and not American, shall we say. But that as nice as I can. Yes, the interiors are, when you knock on them, they sound quite good in that car. Average fuel consumption, 20 mpg, 0 to 60 is under 5 seconds, which is BMW M3 territory. Yes, I think you should buy one, Simon.
I think I would love to have one of them. They were, I think, this last generation of Mustang was specifically tuned to suit European roads as well. So that's a plus. So they weren't just wallowy big American things. They actually went round corners really well.
I mean, and that comes from, say, 10 years ago when a lot of people were taking the Mustang in America and taking it to people. Is it Skunk Works and is it Foos or Foss?
Yeah.
In America, ripping out all the crap and putting decent suspension on it, really expensive brakes on it, retuning, remapping the engines. And that's what Ford went, why don't we just do this?
Because bear in mind, a few years ago, the Mustang still had leaf spring rear suspension.
Yeah. Insane. When was the last British car to have leaf springs? All right, Morgan aside. I mean, we're talking the
late 70s?
Late 70s. The Land Rovers don't even have them on anymore. That's a big old 4x4. So yes, a nice car to be had in the UK if you want, but you're going to get stung by the £500 a year car tax.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the killer. A beautiful looking car, and in fact, if anybody wants to write in, I also have the name of a guy who will, if you do have the Mustang, there's a guy in North London who creates really expensive steering wheels to mirror. So he'll take the original steering wheel, which is pretty plain, and he will recover it and reshape it, and all he requires is your old steering wheel. And for about 250 quid, he will give you like a racing sports steering wheel with the badge and the logo, and you can have it to match, rather than just having a plain black steering wheel. I've got a friend of mine I work with has had one of these things done. I said, that's amazing, but that's got to cost £1,000. He said, no, 250 quid. Because it's just his labour. He takes the exchange is you give him your old steering. So you can get in touch with the show if you would like to ask us a question And we will endeavour to answer it pretty badly. It's the show is car-boys@outlook.com. If you want to email in, Facebook we're car-boys, boys always with a Z, at car-boys with 4 Zs at the end. Twitter car-boys with a Z, at car_boys with a Z, and Instagram
car_boys with 3 Zs.
Fantastic. Are you ready for your quiz?
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. Yes, I am.
It's going to be a good one. Yes, this week's big quiz is Name That Siren. Give me applauding crowd. Hey! Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. No, a little bit more. Yes, thank you. Yes. Yes, in tribute to 1970s British comedian Tom O'Connor and his show Name That Tune, we have got our own version, Name That Siren, but with a much less musical and much more emergency services theme. I will be donning the red velvet suit of a lounge singer, making jokes about my mother-in-law and asking my lucky contestant to name that siren. It could be a police siren from Canada. It could be a fire engine from Norway, or it could be an ambulance from London, which would be the sound of silence as this dystopian vision of the future comes to real life. I'm only joking. I digress. Now, joining me this week is a lucky man who's come all the way down from North London, south of the Watford Gap. It's Simon!
Hey.
That's enough. Yeah. Now, Simon, let me explain how we play the quiz. I'll play you the sound of a police siren, and I need to know what sort of siren it is, police, ambulance, or fire, what country it's from, and what era it's from. And here we will accept the era of old or modern. With that complicated, you get 1 point for each answer answered correctly. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Super, smashing, and great. Here we go. Here's your first one. So ears wide open now. Ears wide open. So we want to know what type of vehicle, what country, and what era. Would you like it again?
Yes, please. I'm gonna guess that's a police car.
Okay, it's correct so far.
Is it from Germany?
Oh,
Oh,
no, I'm afraid not. And we need the era as well. Old or modern?
I'm gonna go for old.
One right out of 3.
Oh.
It was a police siren. It is modern, and it's from Italy. Those comedy Italians. So 1 out of 3 so far. Okay. So not doing bad. All to play for. Right, here we go for another one. Are you ready?
Yes. Okay.
So we need to know what country that's from, what type of siren it is, police, ambulance, or fire, what era it's on, old or modern, and what country.
I'm going to go for police in Britain.
Okay. Yeah, and modern. Well, 2 out of 3, as Big would say, ain't bad. It was actually an ambulance.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so you're not doing bad. So far we've got 4 out of a potential 6. So we're doing quite well. Now, here we go. So again, I'm going to play you the siren, and you have to guess whether it's what type of siren it is, where it's from, and whether it's old or modern. Here we go. God, that's enough of that. That's cleared out the wax out my ears. Lovely. So, what do you think it is? Police, fire, or ambulance?
I'm going to go for an American fire.
Ooh.
Modern.
Oh, well, again, 2 out of 3, as Meatloaf said.
Oh.
That was, in fact, an American police car.
Oh.
From NYPD, apparently.
I see.
Okay, so, right, and we're on to the next one. Here we go. Right, 3, 2, 1. Stand by, in your own time. In your own time. This will sound familiar to you.
Oh.
Go on.
Is it an ambulance?
No.
Fire.
No! No, I can't give you that.
Police.
Where, it is police. Where do you think it's from?
Britain.
Yes! And of course it is.
Modern.
Excellent. So 2 out of 3 ain't bad. We're doing quite well so far. At the moment, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You got 7 out of potential 12. That's fine. Here we go. We've had that one. We've had that one. We've had that one. We've had that one. Now, this may catch you out. This is a very interesting one. Stand by. And as Morecambe and Wise once said, he'll never sell any ice cream going at that speed. Right, where do you think this is? What country, what type of emergency service, and whether it's old or modern?
It sounded French.
Well, you're right. You're on the right continent. a little bit more Corona than France, currently.
Italy.
Yes, they got that one right.
I'm going to guess it's a fire engine.
No, it's not.
Ambulance.
It is an ambulance, yeah.
And it is modern.
It is modern. We're going to give you 2 out of 3. You're not doing bad. You're not doing bad. You're not doing bad. Moving swiftly on. Where we've done that one. We've done that one. Oh, okay. We've done that one. We haven't done this one. Here we go. Old, modern, from what country?
Oh, I'm going to go with police Spain.
Yes. Think to previous answers. No. Go on. And country? They like bread. They smell.
Doesn't narrow it down. France?
Yeah! It was a French copper. I think it was a Peugeot 205. It looks terrible. Right, moving on. Let's wind this up. I'm getting bored of this now. Here we go. You've not heard this one before. This will be an interesting one. There we go. So what do you think about that one?
I bet you something obscure like, I don't know, Luxembourg.
That is. You may be slightly to. Yes. So no, it's not. It's a UK one.
Really? Oh. Can I hear it again?
Hang on a sec.
Oh, it's therefore it's got to be an old UK.
Yes, that's right.
And I'm going to go for fire.
No, it was the police. That was the traditional Nina sound of a police siren from, I believe, the 1970s in the UK. Yes. How about this one? Now, I think we are old, but we're not that old.
Can I go for its fire?
Yeah. Go on.
Is the country Trumpton? And old.
Well, you got the old right. I'll give you the country's top 10. I'll give you another 2 out of 3 because it was the UK, but it was actually the police. That was a police bell from the 1950s. I'm going to give you a couple of weird ones now.
Okay.
Go. What do you reckon?
I'm going to go for Australia.
Not quite as far. We've been discussing the country in this.
Thailand.
Yes, it was Thailand. Well done.
Was it the police?
Nope.
Fire?
No. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. We're not going to give you that one.
Okay.
It was the ambulance. It was the ambulance.
Okay.
So we'll give you 2 out of 3. And we have one final one. Now, you've scored so far out of a potential of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 questions. Anyway, you've basically got over halfway. So you're around about 60%
Okay.
on the.
Yeah.
Now, yeah. So you can win a special bonus prize. It's a weekend in Butlins of your choice with free coronavirus. Would you like to play? Would you like to gamble for it?
Yeah, go on then.
Here we go.
Yes.
Here we go. Stand by. Any ideas?
American fire? Oh.
Well, yes, slightly north of America.
Oh, Canadian.
So you got actually, yes, you got 2 out of 3, and it was actually modern because that's the sound of the Paw Patrol ambulance. So it's actually Adventure Bay in Canada. When there is a fire in Paw Patrol, it was the Dalmatian. I have no idea what the Dalmatian is. My son loves all that. I recorded earlier on. So yes. So there we go. So well done. Hang on, I've got to get me applause up now. Where the hell are my applause people? You walk away with some fantastic stuff there. No idea what you do walk away with. Yeah, can't find my applause on this. Can't find any. I'm having all sorts of problems. There we go. Yes, well done. You walk away with 2 first-class tickets to Sydney, Australia, valid for the next 2 weeks.
Hey.
Oh, well, completely redundant. And that's about it from us on the show. Thank you very much for tuning in. You can email the Car-Boyz at car-boys@outlook.com. We'll endeavour to answer your questions, be they car-related or not. We'll endeavour to, hopefully we'll still be here next week. I'm stocked up on pants, rolls, machine guns and booze. Locked down in the bunker with my family. They may not survive. They've been
Grim.
very quiet on the programme today. We've not heard anything from. And obviously Simon in his luxury penthouse apartment overlooking the leafy streets of Edmonton will also be joining you hopefully next week, same time, same place, same back channel. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye now.